Tonight, on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide, returning to our platform, Flautist Ragan Whiteside. The Atlanta-based musician, songwriter, and vocalist is lauded as charismatic and electrifying in stage performances, while also collaborating with notables such as Marion Meadows, Patrice Rushen, Tom Brown, Melba Moore, and the icons are endless. Whiteside's skills and talents have excelled in the male-dominated instrumental sphere, garnering multiple consecutive top 10 Billboard airplay singles, recently charting #1 on the Smooth Jazz Billboard chart for her latest single, Thrill Ride. Join us as we reintroduce Ragan Whiteside on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide. I am, of course, Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of the show. I want you to do me a favor, tag and invite, share it, of course. Let everybody know that we're on. Share. Now's the time to share. I see you guys are coming up in the comments. It is so good to be here, to be back after a holiday. And I hope you enjoyed yours like I did mine. Always restful and peaceful. But it's Music Monday, right? And we are on with an amazing, that's one of my favorite words, amazing creative. She was here a couple of years ago. Um, and we toasted with Pinot Grigio. But tonight, I don't have mine, Reagan. I'm
I
sorry.
don't mind either. I don't know. What.
What happened?
You know what? I don't know. You know what? I think I've been running so much. I think if I had like one sip of wine, it would just
knock you out. Me too.
I'd be asleep.
Well, welcome back to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You are like doing stuff like with nitrous. I mean, you're like 90 going north, and it's like there she goes, and she's just doing your thing, girl. And I was like, okay, let's get her back on the show before the end of this year. And I am so happy in your busyness, you you humbly came so graciously to chat with us. And so
Oh no,
that's
it
an
is my
honor.
honor. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor. I don't I had at least one person, but I'm sure it's been a while for a lot of people. And I want you to reiterate some of the things that you shared the first time around. It's so down in the archives. I got to go back and dig to find that interview. But I want you to share with our viewers and those who will watch you on the replay. Share how Reagan Whiteside got exposed to music. Share that with us.
Oh man, growing up, my parents were just are huge music fans. There was always music in the house, and we would. It was always about the record player, and there would be all kinds of music playing. I mean, from Rick James to Michael Jackson to the Whispers to Johnny Mathis to. I mean, it just ran the gamut, and so it was just always in the air. And my uncle was also a drummer and a singer, and was
What?
in doo-wop groups, and he was always he was very cutting edge. He was making albums out of his house before it was popular,
Wow.
way
Okay.
before the internet. So and he bought me one of my very first uh, recorders. It was a 4-track
Uh-huh.
recorder with a
Not a
cassette.
part talk.
Yeah. Um,
Love
but
it.
I wore that thing out. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Mm.
any instrument I could get my hands on, I liked to play. It was like a toy for me. So my parents got me piano lessons, and then everybody started getting instruments while they were in elementary
Yep.
school. And so I said, oh, let me get the violin. And of course, it was like, it's just,
Oh no!
um,
Oh gosh!
you know, especially when it's a kid's violin.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
right.
not a full size violin, so it's going to be the squeakiest,
Crafty.
squeakiest,
Yes.
yeah, swinging a cat around by its tail kind
Oh Lord, I love it.
of. um,
Oh
and
God.
once I got to the fourth grade, the band teacher came around, Mr. Larry Bibb, uh, in Mount Vernon, New York, and he was recruiting for the band. And I was like, oh, yeah, bet. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's
There was a
okay.
parade. There was a parade that went through the city of Mount Vernon every year called the Band Day Parade. And all of the schools, all of the elementary schools, middle schools, high school, all the bands would march in this parade. And I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be in this parade. And but I couldn't be in the parade playing the violin. So when the band teacher came around and was recruiting, I was like, okay, bet I want to play the drums. And they're like, well, no, no, no. The boys are playing the drums and we don't have enough for everybody, so pick something
What?
else. I said, okay, I want to play trumpet. We don't have enough trumpets. We don't have any trumpets anymore. Well, what do you have left? And it's like, you have a flute and a clarinet. I don't want to play either one of those. I guess I'll take the flute just because it's, a smaller
Oh
case.
yeah. Oh my
And
God.
it took me like a whole week to get a sound out of it. Everybody else, all my friends would just pick it up and get whatever sound. Me, nope. Took a week,
Nothing. A
nothing,
wing.
nothing. It was just nothing. And but after a week, I started getting a sound, and I was like, "Oh, I got this." So no, so Mary had a little lamb. I was rocking Mary. So it just kind of kept going, and I really started to like it. And the more I liked it, the more I played it, and it just kind of went on from there.
Right. What you alluded to, well, you shared that you also played other instruments today. Fluent, like the
Hmm.
flute is your thing. Are there other instruments that you've like decided I'm going to record this? I'm going to put with me playing. Have you?
Recording, well,
Yeah.
I mean, keys,
You
keys
do.
I'll
Okay.
play.
Yeah.
um, but I mean, in terms of recording,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I would do it, but
Okay.
I do play many instruments well enough to teach a kid,
Okay.
well enough to just get around on it. And if I had to throw in some little part somewhere, I could probably do it.
Ah, you could do
Um,
it. Yeah.
you know, and this all came from this summer program that I went to from age 5 all the way through high school called Summer Creative Arts in Mount Vernon. And it was like, 4 weeks during the summer. And it was, you could take whatever instrument you wanted. You can do dance, you can do theater and arts and
Right.
crafts. So I did the whole thing. It was like
Mhm.
my absolute favorite thing to do. And
Wow.
every single year, I took a new instrument. So by the
That was
time
smart.
I got to, my
Yeah.
senior year of high school, I just I could play whatever, but I enjoyed the flute the most.
Mm, wow. And we can tell because you're amazing on that thing, right?
Oh, thank you.
Right. You were introduced to me. Actually, I had a business partner when I first met you, and um, we're still friends, but I think it was just, how some people are just seasonal in your life, you know?
Mm.
And I would call him a business partner, but in any event, one day he called me, he says, "You gotta hear Reagan Whiteside." I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Just listen to her," right? And he's almost always right anyway. So he's a producer, right? And so I heard it and I said, why haven't I heard of her before? Here I am doing this show, and I had never heard you. And from there, I literally fell in love with how you just play. It's
Thank
just
you.
like effortlessly. You know how some people sing effortlessly, like
Mhm.
um, Lori Williams. She has this. It just comes right.
Mhm.
Um, like Anita Baker. It just comes. And so with you, I literally just fell in love with. I think I had you were. Was it JJ's Strut? Was that the song that was out
Mhm.
when you? Yeah, when I first had you on.
Probably at the time, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
amazing. I mean, like I said, all of your songs are. They are. And if you could not, so you guys, fam knows I do this all the time. If you could not do music, period, what would you be doing today?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would be in theater. I'd
Really?
be an actress. Mhm.
I can see that. Okay.
Oh,
I can
that's not PC anymore. I'm sorry. I would be an actor. I'd be a thespian. You know.
Ooh, let's make it politically correct.
Yes.
Absolutely. That because you're also an on-air personality. That's amazing.
Yeah. That was fairly recent. Within the past, it'll be 2 years next month.
How'd that
Um,
how'd that happen? Share it before
man,
we get
it
a break.
was
Sure. Yeah.
it was like it was one of those kind of out of the blue kind of opportunities. David Linton, the program manager at WCLK, called me up and he was like, "Hey, uh, what do you think about being on the radio?" And I'm like, I love being I'm on the radio. He says, "No, no, 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 no." He means no. I mean, be talk on the radio, like on the show and
Exactly.
live.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
I had never considered it. And so he was like, "Okay, well, you have to audition." It's like, oh, come on, you called me, didn't you? But anyway,
I didn't call you.
but he sent me a
Um,
script and I read it down and I got the gig. And so, of course, the very first day, I was so nervous.
were you?
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't believe.
I didn't know I mean, aside from learning the board and the
Yeah,
computer and all the stuff,
exactly.
it's a lot. You kind of have to be an octopus in there.
Literally.
There's
Yeah.
no yeah, because you're producing your
Technology.
own stuff. So,
Mhm.
you're moving the faders and you're doing whatever. So, and then it was, okay, talk to the people. And it's like, but I'm staring at a glass. It's there's nobody in front of me. And so it's kind of like you have to picture the audience and there's when you're on the stage and you see the people and
Yeah.
you feel the energy coming back, you know, it's like, okay, but this was totally different. And
Mhm.
so it took a while for me to get used to it, but it's a learning process and everybody at the station has been so amazing. I have a whole lot of mentors over there and
Do you?
those-
Yeah. And I want to talk about that. You know what? You're clipping it to my next segment, lady. I want to talk about that. And musically, basically, is what I really but wanted to have you share. But definitely want to touch on mentors and tutelage, and because I know you've come up the ranks educational wise
Mhm.
as well. And so let's just chat a little bit more. You guys, we got Reagan Whiteside, Billboard girl. I'm so happy to have you on the show. That's all I know. Glad to have her back. We've got some comments up here. Before I go, I do at least want to acknowledge the fam in the room. Sharon Lane is on. Hey, Sharon, I'm
Hey.
glad you're here. So glad. And Michelle Sellers from STL Smooth Jazz, she's here. And legendary bassist Mark Walker, he's in the house. Hey, Mark, so glad to have you on. Yeah, the stars are coming out. Ron Ledford. Hey, my friend, I love you of Anise Records and Rose Lady. She's in the room, and I think I saw Nori Lynch somewhere
Mhm.
here. Yes, I did. Hey, Nori, so glad that you are joining me on tonight, and of course, my friend from the UK, Martin Higgs. He's up late to watch the show. Mhm. And Colleen Keepley. Hey, honey, so glad to have you on. That's my sister in crime. You guys need to connect with her and Rose Lady, as a matter of fact. Um, Great women to know to help promote and repurpose your flyers and push cards and such. If you are an indie artist, right? And Al, sit down. Look at there. I got the whole team in the house. So glad to have you, Al Seaforth. I'm honored to have you, an amazing on air personality as well. Listen, you guys, thank you all for coming, and they're still coming in. The comments are still popping up. We'll come back in just a little bit more conversation with our special guest, Ragan Whiteside. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The Platinum Agencies is taking the indie brand to the next level with customized strategies that includes interviews on unsigned artist reveal worldwide and promotional campaigns on social media. Listen to what these artists had to say about us. Daryl Anders of Agape Soul says Sabrina Taylor has created a brilliant platform to showcase unsigned and independent artists. She's been a great resource for increasing awareness and helping me to build my brand. International guitarist Gary Purcell says Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide offers a platform for unsigned artists to showcase and put themselves in a position where people can have an opportunity to learn about the artist in an up-close and personal setting. Sabrina Taylor does a great job making you feel comfortable and can really present the artist well to the audience. And it does not hurt that she has a smooth voice. The Platinum Agencies, better known as TPA, brand ambassador for indie artists on social media. Connect with the Platinum Agencies at gmail.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. If you are just joining us, I'm Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide, absolutely worldwide, all over. I mean, Canada, the UK. I had someone from Brazil join us, and literally, I have artists from all around the world: California, Atlanta, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Gary, Indiana. I've got them Floridians, it's just all kinds from everywhere, all over, worldwide. And that's what we are. And I'm so happy to sit in this seat and bring someone like Ragan Whiteside, number one Billboard artist. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit right here with me. And we're going to kind of pick her brain a little bit more before we get into the coveted um, music premiere. How about that? So, Reagan, glad to have you on. So happy to have you back with us. We were talking about mentors. We got into that conversation at the end, right before we went to break. Talk about some of the mentors that you adopted along the way, musically, if you can.
It, I mean, overall, I would say the person that I've had the longest
Yeah.
mentorship with, Bob Baldwin.
Yeah.
Um, when I graduated from conservatory with my bachelor's of classical music performance, which at that moment was totally worthless because I didn't want to play classical music anymore, and spent all
Yeah.
that money, but it did help tremendously with technique. But I graduated and knew I didn't want to do classical music anymore, so I felt kind of lost because I had so focused on it, and I it was like maybe uh, within a month after I graduated, I went to a club in Scarsdale, New York, called the August Blue Light, and Bob and Marion and a whole bunch of people were there, and the club was pretty small, pretty intimate, and I was sitting right up front, and I was just completely blown away, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. That I was like, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
So I went up to Bob after the show and I said, I'm a classical musician. I want to get into jazz. What advice do you have for me? And we ended up talking for a while, and he told me some really great stuff. And 2 days later, he was doing recording a jingle for CD 101.9, which
Oh,
was the smooth jazz station in New York. And he was like, why don't you come on through? And I was like, yay! So he says, yeah, bring your flute. So
oh,
I went over there and went to the upper room in Yonkers, New York, and which was
yeah.
uh, the studio by Dennis Johnson. So
Ah,
so everybody always asks me, how did you meet Dennis? I just rang his doorbell. So that was literally, he answered the door. So I
wow.
went up there and I played something for them. I think I played it was a Stevie Wonder tune, and didn't solo though because I did not know how to improvise at that point.
At that
And
point, right?
um, Bob started showing me some things, and I was playing, and then um, he was like, "Okay, well, I know you can play, so why don't you play this flute part on this jingle?" So I ended up playing on this jingle, and I remember waking up one morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I hear my flute. I'm like, "What? What's going on?" Because the radio was on, and I
Yeah.
and I heard it for the first time, and it was that was the end. It was like crack or something. I just I just couldn't put it down.
But you have to go back, right? You had to go back.
I had to do it. I had to go back.
Oh
It
my gosh.
got me.
Bob Baldwin
So
is an amazing
yeah.
producer. I actually interviewed him on the other platform, which I haven't done in a while, which is the legendary platform, but amazing. He gave me a couple tips too. I was doing some production, and I said, I keep hearing this clicking at the end. He's great at just um, fine tuning little things, right? I
Mm,
said, I
mm.
keep hearing this little click at the end as it's going out. He says, well, you know what could get rid of that is just if you fade out. I thought, what? Just and I did that. I said, Bob, I owe you a brownie, man. You know,
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's like that once you hear it and you put it all together, it's like, how come I didn't think of that? But when you do this all the time, you know the caveats and the
Mm,
nuances of things that kind of help you get over the little stuff that would just aggravate you, won't you pull your hair out, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
so he's just amazing. And speaking of him, um, I just love how you took control at that moment at the end of that show, and you just went up there and you introduced, "Hey, this is who I am," and you were like, "I'm getting this." And
Mhm.
you guys have been on a upward mobile pathway ever since then. Would you say?
Yes, yes. And I'm not going to tell you how many years. It was
Okay.
probably 150 years ago. Let's let's leave it at that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just one of those things. I've learned so much from him. I've learned so much from Dennis. Because between the two of them, it was like graduate school boot camp, everything. Bob was teaching me about making that transition from classical to jazz
Right.
and about the business of music. And
Mhm.
Dennis was showing me all about how to make music in a studio, how to run a session, how MIDI works, how to write music with computers.
Love
And
it.
so
Yeah.
all of this, I became a studio rat.
Uh-oh.
And for years I was just soaking in. I was a sponge, and I just loved it. And so it just kept going, started writing music, like actually wasn't the first time I had written music, but it was the first time I had written a non-classical piece. And
Oh,
so started writing more contemporary stuff, and that
yeah.
turned into a demo. That demo turned into an album, and it just kept
Went
going.
on from there. Yeah. You have like lived at the top 10 chart on the top 10 chart of Billboard for like it just goes on and on and on and on and on. I mean, you're just sitting there. So you just have a place at the top of the chart on Billboard. How does that feel?
It feels incredible,
Yeah.
and I take nothing for granted. It's like every single time it happens, it feels like the first time, and
Wow.
I'm just so grateful to have to be able to experience that type of success.
Right, right. And we were back of house guys, we always have the best conversation back of house, before you guys get to see us. And I was just like squealing and squeaking about I hadn't seen her in like 2 years, and then we just got into this deep conversation, and it was really about balance. And you made this statement, and I want you to elaborate. We're going to take our last break of the night, but you made a statement um, about, and I was talking about how busy and busy and busy we were.
Hmm.
And I guess I could segue into that by saying, you have to take control to prevent being quote unquote dragged by the world.
Hmm.
Whoa. I mean, it was like a cold water moment. Like, I haven't quite heard it put that way. Elaborate and share where that came from. Was there a circumstance? Did something happen? Or you're just kind of, using some of these figurative words and labels? Share a little bit more about that, Reagan.
It came from many conversations with my mother.
Wow.
Um, because it was this industry is so it can be very rough, and things are coming at you from all directions. Some of them good, some of them not good, and having to navigate all that stuff and just getting tossed and turned and rumbled and jumbled and dragged. And she told me that it was she compared it to like a river and going down a mad rushing river. And she says, you can let the river take you and you just kind of hit every rock and all this stuff down, or you can get into the center and go with the flow.
Wow.
Fight everything. Just if you see it, navigate just a little,
Yeah.
but you don't have to get dragged. You don't have to
That's
get dragged. You don't have to let the world
right.
drag you. You have some control. It's a matter of perspective and really being centered.
Yeah. That's I said, wait a minute, let me write that. Let me write that down. Because that was just, I think that was for me as well. Because you're there for everybody else except you. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
And then
mhm,
and sharing how I'm not going to get into all the details here, but some of my family on UAR knows some of the things I've been facing, and I've been ignoring the signs, just barreling, going 100 miles an hour. And so I can appreciate your mom, and I'm beginning to take note. And I'm going on a sabbatical, you guys. November and December, there will be no unsigned artist reveal. Okay. And that's because I'm going to take time for me and come back refreshed in the year 2023. So thank you so much for sharing that, because that just was a confirmation for me, and any of you other producers out there that's watching and indies that are going 100,000 miles an hour with nitrous, behind you, you gotta take time for you, because when your body says stop and you don't stop, uh, well, we know what happens, right? Yeah, yep, yep.
mm.
Well, I wanted to ask you a couple more questions, but I think I'm going to wait because I want to put all of that in the last segment about your. I know you own your own label, and um, are all of your. Well, I'll ask you that when we come back from the break. But in any event, Rose Lady has a statement. Let's see. I would love to see a classical collaboration with Ragan Whiteside on flute. Um, Gene from the Baylor Project singing with Nathan Mitchell on a baby grand. You
Wow.
see the request this morning. Okay, so I'm going to let you respond because it'll be in the chat, and we're friends, and I think you will be able to get in there. And If you want to respond now, you can. If you want to physically respond, that's okay. You know.
I am gonna have to talk and physically do this because if I try to type it, I'm gonna lose everything. I know it.
Go
So
ahead.
that but that sounds like an amazing
Yeah,
it's like
big
that
thing.
would be very cool. That
Yeah,
would be
I think it
awesome.
would be. I agree. I agree. Well, let's go to our last break because we've got just a couple more questions and we've got the big music premiere that's coming up. Can't wait for that. I want you guys to see the video and listen to the music. I just can't wait. I'm excited about it. You guys, please don't go too far because we've got more coming with my special guest, Ragan Whiteside, on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide. Don't go.
The Platinum Agencies is taking the indie brand to the next level with customized strategies that includes interviews on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide and promotional campaigns on social media. Listen to what these artists have to say about us. Daryl Anders of Agape Soul says Sabrina Taylor has created a brilliant platform to showcase unsigned and independent artists. She's been a great resource for increasing awareness and helping me to build my brand. International guitarist Gary Purcell says Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide offers a platform for unsigned artists to showcase and put themselves in a position where people can have an opportunity to learn about the artist in an up-close and personal setting. Sabrina Taylor does a great job making you feel comfortable and can really present the artist well to the audience. And it does not hurt that she has a smooth voice. The Platinum Agencies, better known as TPA, brand ambassador for indie artists on social media. Connect with the Platinum Agencies at gmail.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the last half hour of the show. It always goes so quickly when you're enjoying the conversation, so that's all the time. I'm Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of the show. So glad that you guys are out there, and I've got one of my favorite guests back, returning, and that's Flautist Ragan Whiteside. She's an amazing creative, and you have your own label. Is that right? What
Yes.
share with us what the idea was behind? I mean, the obvious is, so you can have control, right? Beyond that, what was there any other reason that you wanted to create your own label, Reagan?
It was a lot more than just control, I tell you that. It was just opportunity,
Yep.
period.
Mhm.
Because when I first started putting out music commercially, um, I was told that flute doesn't test well on radio,
Oh,
and so flute was not welcome in the genre, and with that, there were many, 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 many doors slammed in my face.
what? How dare they?
From labels and whatnot, and
Mm.
they just, you know, can you pick up a sax? No.
What?
So,
Oh my gosh.
um,
Wow.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. So, it was out of necessity, really. Um, if I wanted to get out here, I was going to have to do it, independently,
Mhm.
and let everything else catch up.
Right.
So that's the main reason why we started the label. And so for years, it was really just an imprint so that, I could keep, releasing music.
Of course.
And it was only fairly recently that we started on the journey of expanding and working with other artists and figuring out the a new way to work with an artist as a label where it's a little bit more equitable for both parties.
Right. And that's what I wanted to know is, are you beyond just you? So a lot of times the artists who create their labels, it's really for them at that point.
Hmm.
And then, they want to grow it so that they
Hmm.
can go and undergird others and bring them on and what have you. And that was my next question in that. Are you seeking other talent to produce? And how does
Absolutely.
that look? Yeah, how does that look?
Absolutely. We did our very first non-Reagan um,
Yay!
release earlier this year. It was a single for Rob Zinn, and we learned a lot from that. And it was just really it was different looking at it from just the opposite end of everything. And
Yeah,
so yeah, we're expanding and definitely want to keep growing, slowly, but
yeah, yeah.
know.
Wow, wow. I wanted to know, on the latest project. And so before you answer that, how many completed projects to date have you released on Randus Music?
uh,
Uh-oh.
6
Wow.
plus the one with Robson. Yep.
So are these all LPs? Are there any just singles, or are these all these releases LPs?
His Robson's was a single. Everything else was, a
Yeah,
full.
the long playing. That's
Hmm.
amazing. I'm telling you, I get excited every time I hear somebody talk about an LP because it is such a storyline with an LP that you don't get from a single.
It's true. It's true. I
You
was just
know,
having that conversation today.
see,
Wow. Yeah. It's very true. It's like a whole vibe, a whole story.
hello, hello. And I miss that. And oh, it's a singles market and everybody wants this and everybody wants that. But, I'm just still from the old school. I want to hear the story. I want to know what's in your heart. I want to hear that. I want to follow you, down that path. And
Yeah.
so I'm just proud of you that you're still, for you, you're definitely releasing full projects. Thrill Ride, man. If you guys, okay, and she's my sister. I'm not funny or nothing. You gotta go see this fine chick on that album cover. She's so fine. That girl. I said, wait. I was looking at where's my phone? I was looking at my phone, right? I'm scrolling Facebook. I said, who is this? Who is this girl? I said, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful.
I gotta hand it to my glam squad. They had me
Girl,
looking. They did their thing. They pulled
oh
out
my
the power
God.
tools. You know.
They laid you out, girl. Do you hear me? They literally laid you out. And I said, oh, I promise you, she's got to come back to. I don't care what I didn't even know what the song was. It was, it was just how they did that. That was so beautiful. How they
Oh,
laid you
thank
out.
you.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure you're proud of that cover.
Oh yeah, I was excited, and it was fun doing the photo shoot.
Sure.
We did it at this a warehouse in Atlanta, and it was one of those things where it's like really it was people would rent it for you know
Event.
creative things.
Yeah.
No, not events. No, no.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
maybe once. Well, places. I mean, look, it's you rent it because it's grungy
oh,
and
really?
really, yeah, it's really
Oh,
industrial,
yeah.
some place where they would, shoot like a real, serious part of a movie, or like a factory scene or something.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing. I mean, and the light you had to bring in if there was one window the sun was coming through. And so that was pretty much other than the photographer's lights,
Yeah.
that was like the only source of light, so we had to get in and out of there while the sun was still up or else it was pitch black.
And
So
you
it
couldn't
was
tell
but
that.
it was a lot of fun. It had a vibe. It had a vibe.
Yeah. And it did. And that's what I was going to say. You couldn't tell all of those elements were going on just by how they shot you. So your photographer, I tip my hat off because they pulled that off, you know. They
Yes.
played it, girl. They did that. They
Yeah.
did the doggone thing. So, what inspired Thrill Ride? Because we're getting ready to share the premiere. Are you the writer or co-writer, or tell us about Thrill Ride?
Dennis came up with this crazy track, and he's always he'll start writing something, and I'll hear it, and I got to poke my head in, and like, what's that? Oh, it's, that's for me, right? That's for me. It's not for somebody else. I said it's for me, right? So
Ooh,
and
I get it.
and it he was like, yeah, this is it's an exciting song, and as it grew, he was like, this is a thrill ride. And it was like, yeah, thrill ride, and so it became like the blueprint for the rest of the album. And it was really fun shooting the video for it, because it was just like, oh, now we can have a little bit of fun with this thrill ride. I mean, it's like, you can just be silly and do whatever you want. So yeah, so it was pretty cool.
So, were there was of course some touches from Bob Baldwin on
Oh
this
yeah,
particular? Of course, yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Any more notables other than Dennis and Bob Baldwin?
Rich Harrison, the artist better known as Ra Harrison
Ah,
on drums,
yes.
and Phil Hamilton on guitar.
Look at you. Look at you. How are you feeling about the CD so far?
I love it. It was definitely a labor of love. It would seem to be the most difficult album to get out, because
Okay.
we've got two beautiful children,
Yes.
but they are at that age where they need a lot of attention and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
between that and trying to get up out of this pandemic and just life in general, it just seemed like it was like just going uphill the entire time. And it's like, we are going to get this done, you know that we
Love
set
it.
deadlines, and the date, just we just blow past it. Okay, we're gonna do it another month, and then just blow past it. I mean, we must have blown the deadline like six
How
times.
many times?
At least six, at least.
Oh, wow.
And then finally it was like, all right, you know what? No, we're just gonna do this. No, you can't put that on there. Nope, we don't have time. This is the album now. So
How many songs is on this CD?
there are 8.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm loving the CD. It's on repeat in my car. Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
thank you.
Yes, it really is. We're getting ready to check out the video Thrill Ride, guys. Likes, hearts, emojis. I want some comments because you're really going to be on a thrill ride. Love this. We'll come back in just a little bit and expound a little bit more on the song. But you guys don't go too far because you'll miss the premiere. Don't go away. Enjoy. We'll be right back. I love that ending. I really do. So cool. I love the whole thing. There was a question from Rose Lady. She was like, was the roller coasters at Six Flags here in Atlanta, Georgia?
Um, I honestly don't know.
Got it.
That was all. It was stock footage, that roller coasters.
Got it. Okay. Well, absolutely. You got all kinds of fire going on and outstanding music from STL Smooth Jazz. Will
Thank you.
be
I
rebroadcasting
really appreciate
there. Yes, Sheila, love it. Do your thing. Love this Reagan. Mark Walker. I mean, you're getting, I'm telling you, rave reviews. They're just, they're just coming in. They're just coming in. So we really, really appreciate the song. And like I said, the comments are just, they're still coming in. And we just appreciate that you came on to allow us, Michael Upshaw. Hey, Michael, glad to have you on with us tonight. Great music producer out in and around the Philly area. But just great to have you on and that you shared with us on tonight amongst your busy dates. And you got a lot. You're headed out
Yes.
on the 15th. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have a show in Philly on the 15th at
Michael.
South.
Michael. Oh. Yeah,
Yes.
go see her. Yeah.
Yeah, we have two shows, one at 7 and one at 9. And you can get tickets on Eventbrite.
Gotcha. And you leave there. You have another on the 18th, is it? Or no?
Yeah, on the 18th, I'll be in White Plains, New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah. But you're
Yeah.
on the
Kind of my old school.
got it. Well, we are just honored to have you. It's the music is, of course, on radio. It went number one on four different charts. Is that true?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How
I
is,
was
I mean, come on, how's that feeling? That's got to be
totally
amazing.
floored, totally floored. I mean, I was just like, wow, it was
Yeah.
it
But rightfully so. Rightfully so. That song is a hit. I mean, it really is. It really is. It
oh,
gets you
thank
up,
you.
it gets you moving. It's a song for convertible weather, you know,
Mhm.
and you're just driving. It's for driving. It really is. So,
For sure.
what is coming up for you next? Talk about
Well, with these, I'm focusing on these shows coming up. So, we have the Northeast, and then I'll be back in Atlanta. Well, Atlanta area. It'll be Alpharetta at the Velvet Note on October 1st, and then out at Shay's Lounge in South Carolina in on October 15th. And in between all of that, PTA meetings and
I
and
love
school
how you.
functions and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, but we're also putting together some things for the next single that'll come out from the album, which will be out at the beginning of next year.
Of
So
course. Of
it
course.
never stops.
No, let's just ride the year out because it's got that kind of juice that
Hmm.
yeah, it can go. It can go. Are you gonna do anything Christmas oriented music wise?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes, we're working on that too. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna release one Christmas song. So the plan is to release one Christmas song a year, and then in like 10 years I'll actually have a whole Christmas album. So that
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I cannot bring my, because when you're working on a full Christmas album, you got
Yeah.
to start working on that stuff like when it's warm outside. I
Hmm.
cannot bring myself to play Christmas music in July. I just can't do it.
What?
I
Are
can't
you
do it. I
serious?
just
Oh my
it bothers me so. So
God. Wow. Mm. Well, you couldn't be in retail because that's when they go to market to
I
get the
know.
stuff for Christmas,
Too
and
soon, y'all. Too soon.
we're rushing Christmas. We're rushing it.
You know?
Yeah, that's my favorite time of the year. I love Christmas. I really do. So, does your family get a chance to travel with you at all? Like your kids and your husband? Do they?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my husband is with me most gigs,
Okay.
except when we can't get childcare covered,
Of
then
course.
we got to work it out. But
Mhm.
yeah, we did a show at in Asheville over the summer. Marcus Anderson's Jazz and Coffee
Yeah.
Escape,
Yep. Hmm.
and the whole family came. The whole family.
Oh,
My
that's beautiful.
parents, my husband, my kids, my sister and her husband, and I mean, their baby, and I mean the whole thing. It was really nice. It
I'm
was just
sure.
it's nice.
So, what do you want people to walk away with? What experience do you want them to have after they, take a listen to your music or experience one of your shows? What do you want them to walk away
I want them to feel good. I want them to walk away saying, "I really enjoyed that. It felt good, man. I didn't think I would like it, but I really did." You know?
with? And they said the flute wasn't. What was the terminology that they said to you? The flute wasn't.
uh, it didn't test well.
Well, now, didn't you prove them wrong? If I had some cheers like Sapphire Jazz does, I can hit the button and
Hmm.
gosh, I am just so godly proud of you.
Thank you.
Just doing a wonderful job. And hopefully, you know, I'm in the South and I'm trying to change the trajectory because here in Mississippi, it's the Bible Belt, right?
Uh,
It's either gospel blues, and that's what's predominant here. And if you
mm,
notice, none of the smooth jazz artists have us listed on their tour. And so I have been trying to get into Visit Jackson, the chamber, so I can get in there and um, just kind of give them some ideas about how to bring smooth jazz to Jackson, Mississippi, because it's
mm,
either 2 hours south, and that's New Orleans, or
mm.
2 hours north, that's 3 hours north, that's Memphis. There's
Ah,
nothing like in between. So we got to
mhm.
change some stuff up.
Hmm.
So um, I'm just praying for the Lord to just give me direction in how, and I've already got an appointment set
All right now.
to the head, girl. I don't play. I don't play. I don't play. So, again, we thank you for coming back and we just wish you well. This is going to stay on the charts, I think, even beyond. It's going to be something that just rides the charts.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you. I hope so.
and it will. And you guys, I thank you for coming and spending an hour with us chatting with Flautist Ragan Whiteside and letting her share her history, her story, all about her creativity, her new music, the tour that she's on. Support her. Go out now on all digital platforms. I don't even think I put. Well, this is how you can connect with her. I just want to make sure before we get off of here. She's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Are you on TikTok as well? Because I didn't
I'm
even. I
trying to
didn't.
be. I'm trying to be. So I signed up. I have a thing. I just haven't posted anything yet. I'm gonna get to it.
I know. It takes time to kind of acclimate TikTok because
Mhm.
the three big ones you just know to get there, and it's like,
There's a
oh,
learning curve. There's a learning curve for sure.
right, exactly, exactly. So watch out for TikTok. She says that's
Mhm.
going to come, but we know she's also on YouTube as well. But again, thank you guys so much for coming on. Remember, what you make happen for others, God will also make it happen for you. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys soon.